I'd like us to talk about something. Imagine a situation where you are already enrolled into the series and you want to continue learning, but then the next lesson or the previous lesson you already watched was the last, and then you're trying to get the next lesson after the last. It's going to give you null, right? But then you redirect to that page. It's going to just break up application. So what I want us to do is customize our next and previous lesson methods, and we're going to be using our test to do this. So remember, when we're running our assertions, if you check out this method, let me just walk you through so you remember. We created a lesson, created a second, created a third, and then this one was the first one to play in the playlist. This is the second, and this is the last one to play. But at the end, we actually asserted that if we are trying to get the previous lesson for the first series, it should give us null. And if we are trying to get the next lesson for the last series, it should give us null. But I want to change this. I want to say we should actually check assert equals id, and we'll get lesson 2 id. So if we are trying to get the previous lesson of the first series, it should actually give us the first series. And if we are trying to get the next lesson of the last series, then it should actually give us the last lesson. Okay, so the last lesson of the series, then it should give us the last lesson. The first lesson of the series should give us the first lesson, because we don't want null. Okay, and let's run this test to see what happens at this point. PHP unit filter, and we'll paste that in. And sure enough, we have a failure. Trying to get property of non-object, because right here we're trying to get ID of null at the moment. So I'll head over to this method, and what I would do to edit this is I'm going to save a next lesson variable for this query, and then I'm going to check right here if that next lesson is null. So if next lesson, so if we have a positive or truthy value, then we'll simply return next lesson. Okay, but then if we don't have a truthy value, it means it was null, then we'll return this. Okay, so we'll return the lesson that we have. We'll do exactly the same thing with our previous lesson method. So previous lesson equals this. Then what we'll do is we'll check if we have a previous lesson. If we do, then we'll simply return previous lesson. And then if we don't, we'll simply return this. Then let's run our test right now to see if it passes, and it does. Therefore, when we get the previous and next lesson, we would never have null. Now, why do we do this? I'll take you to my learning controller, learning.php trait, and I'm going to show you that there are some methods that actually depend on the next and previous lesson methods. For example, the last one at the bottom, which is the get next lesson to watch. You see right here, we're getting the next lesson. So if this actually returns null, and then we're getting next lesson of null, or if this method actually returns null, and we're returning null to the view, it's really going to mess up our application. Therefore, we always want to make sure we have something for the user.